Just how much of an impact, did Big E have on you when you were at high school here in Bemidji?
Oh, it was huge. For me, he symbolizes what Bemidji pride is. I mean, he was that, like you said, energy in the room. He's always positive. He was always supportive of what Bemidji athletics was going and anything in Bemidji, whether it was academics or athletics. So to me, I mean, he is the statue for Bemidji pride and for Bemidji's town in general, for all the kids.
Yeah, when a lot of kids speak of him, and Troy was talking about him too as well, it's like he's almost like a father figure to a lot of student athletes. Is there any kind of story that you remember of a Big E where it's like maybe he didn't have to do this? It's not in his job responsibilities, but he kind of took it upon himself to be that kind of father figure?
Oh yeah, for sure. When me and my brother were, I'd say, third and fifth graders, after basketball, we'd come to every single home basketball game we could, and after that, he would let us on the court, which they don't do as much now, but he let us on the court for 15, 20, even 30 minutes sometimes just to shoot around and stay there and wait to clean up until we were done, and he thought that we had enough time there and just to get us in the gym. So that was one thing that I'll never forget about him, and that's something that allowed me to continue to get better and see, the positive sides of stuff and in the world in general, and see people that want you to be better and want you to do things. So
yeah, and then last thing too, how is Big E and what he's done for you kind of growing up, like stuff like that, impacted you and make you who you are today?
It's made me want to do like how I did, just to come back and coach, just to see the support he's given to other people and what it did for me to allow me to be successful at the college level and to achieve the things I did was partly because of support from guys like Big E and stuff like that. And now it's made me want to be that guy and be the guy who supports these student athletes, because a lot of times there's people that there's a lot of kids that don't have that certain support, and that's what it's made me do. It's made me, appreciate what I have and what these other people can bring to the table.
For you, what's been the most impressive thing and thing that you're blown away about Big E throughout these years, about what's been most impressive to see just how much he's given back to Bemidji High School?
He has a huge heart. I mean, he bleeds blue and white. He's definitely a lumberjack true and true. And he's a smile on his face all the time. He's happy and he's the biggest cheerleader these athletes have. And he was when I was an athlete here.
How special is that he's like a father figure?
He does a lot behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see. One thing is, there's a lot of lost and found here, and he'll find a kid that needs a new pair of shoes or a shirt or sweatshirt or a jacket, and he'll go find it for that kid. I mean, he's just looking out for everyone in this school. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not.
What is Big E like? How has he made an impact on you, and how has he kind of made you the guy that you are today?
I would say Big E's been around my life ever since I was a little kid. Big E was actually a part of my dad's softball team, so I knew him from a very young age growing up. And he's always been a part of my family and just been a part of me growing up and seeing what I've been able to do. And once I finally got to the high school, you could just see the difference about him letting people in and getting to know every single athlete, and just being a big part of that whole thing is just Big E bringing everybody together.
Yeah. I'm sure you could go on and on. We could have this camera rolling for a half hour with stories I'm sure you have with Big E, but is there one or two or one in particular you remember that really kind of sink in, you remember about who Big E was?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I mean, when I was younger, I remember him letting us into the gyms after all the practices were done here at the high school when I was in middle school, and just letting us into the gyms to shoot occasionally with my dad and stuff like that, letting my brothers into the gym and supervising us, and just letting us just grow, basically.
I mean, how cool and special is that like, hey, he's here to show up custodian kind of whatever, but he's kind of taking it upon himself to kind of be that father figure.
Yeah, I would say that there's a lot of people in Bemidji that consider Big E their second dad almost, especially when you get to the high school ranks and you're in athletics. Not everything goes your way, but he took the time to at least sit down with you and got to know what you were doing and what you were struggling with, and he tried to help you in any way possible, and that's just who Big E was. His personality was so big that he attracted everybody to him, and he was willing to listen to you, and that was the best thing about Big E.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to say about Big E?
Just a quick story on Big E. I know our senior year when we went to the lost in the state championship, there was a little skirmish that we had at the start of that season between me and another good player, Carey Woods. But we had we weren't talking for a couple days there, and he was the guy that came in and sat us both down and brought us into a room and said, all right, this stops here. We're going to talk it out and we're going to get this figured out. And that's just who he was. He was a guy that brought everybody together and just made sure everything was right and everything was rolling, and he was a big part of our success, especially that group going through that year. I just want to say that we appreciate everything that Big E has done for us, and athletics, and me personally and my family personally. Big E's a big part of our lives and will always be a big part of our lives, and we really appreciate that, and we love you, man.